Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Darati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य ऋषतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासारि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Haribol. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Well, reading session. Okay, so today we continue with existentialism. I think that is how you pronounce it. First person is Soren Abje Kierkegaard. He's some Danish philosopher. Okay, I read the first 2 pages, then we can change. Hayagriv Das. Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher, a Christian, is often called the father of existentialism.
Existentialism.
Oh, existentialism. He believed that if the truths of religions are not innate within man, then they must be transmitted by a teacher. Since man would be overawed by God, if God himself came to teach as he is, God comes instead as a servant of God in human form, or for a Christian as a Jesus Christ. Srila Prabhupada. Generally, because men are on the animal platform, some system of education is required. When man's consciousness is advanced, he can be educated in the understanding of God through the teachings of the authorities. That is the Vedic system. In the human form, the living entity is sometimes very inquisitive and wants to understand God. That is technically called Brahma Jignasa, interest in the absolute. That is possible only in the human form. If we are anxious to know about God, we have to approach a guru. Otherwise, we cannot understand the nature of God or of our relationship with him. Accepting a guru is not a fashion, but a necessity. A guru is one who is fully trained in the ocean of spiritual knowledge or Vedic knowledge. Vedic words or sound vibrations are not ordinary material vibrations. They are completely spiritual. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra, for instance, is a purely spiritual sound. Once a person is fully trained in the ocean of spiritual sound, he is no longer interested in the materialistic life. Nor does such a person manufacture gold or juggle words to attract foolish people and make money. A guru, by definition, is one who is no longer interested in material things. He has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, and his material desires have completely ceased. We should approach such a bona fide guru, surrender unto him, serve him, and then question him about God and our relationship with God. Hagriv Das. Is Kierkegaard correct in maintaining that man would be overawed if God came to teach as he is? Didn't Krishna as he is come to teach Bhagavad Gita? Prabhupada. Krishna came as he is, but people misunderstood him because he appeared to them as an ordinary human being. Because they could not surrender unto him, he came later as a devotee, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to teach men how to approach God. That is the concept of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understood his activities and wrote about 100 verses in appreciation. Two of these verses read, what is this tune? Let's see. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेका पुरुषः पुराण श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपां बुधिर्यस्तम् अहं प्रपद्ये कलान्नस्तं कालान्नस्तं भक्तियोगं निजं या प्रदुष्कर्तुं कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम अविर्भूतस्तस्य पदारविन्दे Gadam Gadam Liyatam Chitta Bringa. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge. His devotional service and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. Let my consciousness, which is like a honeybee, take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Person of Godhead, who has just now appeared as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to teach the ancient system of devotional service to himself. This system had almost been lost due to the influence of time. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 6, 254 and 55. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thus understood that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the very same Krishna come to teach Bhakti Yoga and the process of renunciation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that very same philosophy, Bhagavad Gita. However, instead of coming as Krishna, he came as a devotee of Krishna. Rupa Goswami also appreciated Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the most munificent incarnation because he not only gives Krishna, but pure love of Krishna. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. In order to give Krishna himself to the devotee, Krishna demands full surrender, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, without making any demands, gives pure love of Krishna. Because we are all his sons, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is affectionate towards us. Because we are rotting in this material world, Krishna comes himself or as a devotee and leaves his instructions. He is always anxious to enlighten a human being and show him how to return home back to Godhead. Hayagriv Das. Concerning God's personality, Kierkegaard writes, God is certainly personal, but whatever he wishes to be so in relation to the individual depends upon whatever it pleases God. It is the grace of God that he wishes to be personal in relation to you. If you throw away his grace, he punishes you by behaving objectively, impersonally towards you. Kierkegaard had nice realization. It's really close. Srila Prabhupada. That is very good point. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Klesho diktarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hikatir dukham dehavadbir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Bhagavad Gita 12:5. Agreed thus, because the ordinary man does not wish to have a personal relationship with God. In that sense, one may say that the world does not have a personal God despite all the proofs. There are no longer the men living who could bear the pressure and weight of having a personal God. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, a personal God makes demands, just as Krishna demands in Bhagavad Gita. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhya jin mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam mat parayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me. Completely absorbed in me, you will surely come to me. Bhagavad Gita 9:34. This is God's demand, and if we carry it out, we can attain perfection. Tyaktva deham punarjanmanaiti mameti. Sorjuna, Bhagavad Gita 4:9. It is clearly stated that when a devotee gives up his material body, he does not accept another, but returns back to Godhead in his original spiritual body. Haribol. Okay, anyone can continue from this part.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Haribol.
um, where do we start?
Here, Prabhu.
There on, is it Kiregada?
Yes,
Kiregada observed. Sorry?
yes, Prabhu. Yes, funny name.
Oh, Kiregada observed three basic stages in a typical life: the atheistic, the ethical, and the religious. In the atheistic stage, a person may be either a hedonist in search of pleasure or romantic love, or an intellectual interested in philosophical speculation. Kiregrada says that both are uncommitted because they do not have specific goals. How can a philosopher have no ultimate goal? On this platform, they are only mental speculators. They become bored and their lives become empty. This is the result of impersonalism and voidism. Impersonalist or voidist are they are not necessarily overcome by despair, but they are often disgusted. Is it disgusted or disguised? Disgusted with their present lives because they do not know the aim of life. When one has no goal, he becomes disappointed in life, and that is the cause of despair. Kierkegaard sees men and indulging in sense gratification and mental speculation in order to cover up their basic dis- despair. In the material world, when a man's business fails or when he experiences some great shock, he takes to intoxication in order to forget. Krigrada suggests that this despair may serve as the first stepping stone towards self realization and understanding that the atheistic life ends in despair. A person abandons it for the next stage. We agree with this. According to the Vedanta Sutra, people begin to inquire about self realization after they have worked very hard and still have not attained life's goal. At this point, people begin to think, what is the purpose of life? What that is called Brahma Jinisa. Jinisa. Inquiry into the ultimate truth of life. Such an inquiry is natural and necessary for future development. In order to attain self-realization, we must face certain choices. For Grigrada, life is an either or decision realizing. This we we advance to the ethical stage. The emphasis here is on action. First of all, we must understand how action or activity comes about. What is the origin of action? Modern science is interested in describing or witnessing life's activities, and scientists claim that life develops automatically due to nature's interactions from the Bhagavad Gita. We understand that behind all these material activities, there is God. Material nature is a machine working under God's direction. Vedanta Sutra explains that the absolute truth is that from which all things emanate, and Srimad Bhagavatam discusses the nature of that origin. First, we must understand that the origin is consciousness. Life does not arise from bones or and stones. Once we understand that the creation does not take place automatically, we must admit that there is a creator. At the ethical stage, men may perform pious works or humanitarian deeds, and Grigrada sees that sees this as a stepping in the right direction towards authentic selfhood. By making the proper ethical decisions, we can approach self-awareness and the religious stage. But what is the ultimate decision? Why do people become moral? Simply to feed the poor and become humanitarians. For Grigrada, it does not much matter what we choose, but the fact that we make the choice through choosing, we have discovered our own integrity. But it is not clear how a person makes the right decisions. One man may choose to slaughter and another may choose to help others. A man may give charity to others and at the same time encourage killing animals. What are the ethics involved? On the one hand, Vivekananda was advocating feeding the poor, but on the other hand, he was suggesting feeding them with Mother Kali's prasadam, with bulls. So, what kind of ethics are these? What is the value of ethics if they are based on imperfect knowledge? Kirikrada would say that by turning Okay, Krigrada would say that by turning inward, we would make the proper decision. This entails self knowledge and self commitment. But what is that inwardness? One may simply think, I will protect my brother by killing another. What are the ethics involved? We must have some standards by which to make the right decision. His standard would be choose thyself. But without knowing thyself, how can you make a choice? And how can you know yourself unless you go to one who knows things as they are? Most people think that they are the body. What kind of self knowledge is this? If one identifies with their body, he is no longer better than an ass. Then what is the value of his philosophy? Ja, Jans, Jansa, Jasatma, Budir Kunape, Tridatuke, Sarvadihi, Kalataradisu, Bahuma, Iaja Dihehi, Yatatriha Budihi Salali, Nakarichi, Janves o Abahi Genus Sa Eva Go Kaharaha. A human a human being who identifies this body made of three elements with his self, who considers them the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to the places of pilgrimage simply to take a bath rather than meet a man of transcendental knowledge. There is to be considered there is to be considered like an ass or cow. Bhagavatam 10:84-13. Krigrada emphasizes the very act of deciding not the decision. But unless we know the aim of life, how can we make the right decision? It is childish to say that we become enlightened by choosing either this or that. A child chooses to play sometimes with one toy and sometimes with another. But but where is his enlightenment? Animals also make their decisions. The ass decides to eat a morsel of grass and work all day carrying loads. If the decision is not important, why not decide for unrestricted sense gratification? Krigrada would say the unrestricted sense gratification ultimately leads to boredom and despair. But if we think that it is the aim of life, it is not boring. If we choose according to our whims, we can make any decision, and a man on the brewery may decide to purchase a bottle of whiskey as soon as he gets some money. Krigrada would say that there is no commitment to a higher ethic there. On the ethical level, we would have to take up a good cause and make decision based on that. But such good causes are relative. Who is to decide what's good cause? If we begin to anticipate death, we will make the right decisions, considering each act to be our last. In this way, the truth will emerge. Yes, a man should think, I do not wish to die, but death is overcoming me. What is the cause of this? What should I do? No one wants to die, but death overcomes everyone. No one wants to be deceased, but diseases are inevitable. Is it diseased? But diseases are inevitable. These are real human problems that cannot be overcome simply by making some whimsical decisions. We should decide, I do not wish to suffer, but suffering is coming upon me. Now I must make a permanent solution to these problems. This is the real decision, putting a permanent end to suffering. We should understand that the body exists for a few years and then is doomed to perish, that the body is eternal, and that and that the body is eternal, and that we should not make our decisions on the basis of the body but the soul. For Grigrada, a man whose consciousness is unhappy is alienated from both past and future. He wishes to forget the past, and the future holds no hope. In proper consciousness, when the personality is integrated, the past and future are unified, and we can make the proper decision. Your decision should be based on the fact that you are part and parcels of Krishna. Krishna told Arjuna that in the past he was existing and that he would continue to exist in the future. Our decision should be based on the platform of the soul. Krigrada sees the self as unifying past and future, and thus establishing its integrity as an integrated whole. Then the self is capable of making decisions. If he comes to the platforms of the self, he must accept the fact that the self is eternal in order to integrate past, present, and future. Yes, this is the highest stage, the religious. On this platform, one commits himself to God and obeys God. That would be the stage of Krishna consciousness. Krigrada believed that in the religious stage there is intense suffering, comparable to the suffering of Job. Why is this? If one is Krishna conscious, why should he suffer? Well, Grigrada was a Christian. Christ suffered for our sins, and the process of overcoming sins is a kind of suffering. But that is a wrong theory. If Christ is God or the Son of God, why should he suffer? What kind of God is subjected to suffering? Why should why should either God or man suffer? The whole the whole point is that there is suffering. There is suffering. You must put an end to it. Many so-called Christians think that because they have some contract with Christ contract or contact contract with Christ, because Christ suffered for their sins, they can go on sinning. Is this a very good philosophy? As an existentialist, Grigrada believed that existence is prior to essence, and that to attain self-realization, we must pass through these various stages. That is correct. We are transmigrating through different species and eventually arriving at the human form, wherein we can understand the purpose of life. At the perfectional stage, we become Krishna consciousness. Therefore, existence precedes essence. For Grigrada, the culmination of commitment is religious life, which is epitomized in the inwardness of suffering. Suffering arises because we identify with the body. When a person has an automobile accident, accident, he may not actually suffer, but because he identifies himself with matter, with the body, he suffers because God is always in full knowledge and is always transcendental to the material world. God never suffers. It is a question of knowledge whether there is suffering or not. But don't penance, penance the and austerity involve suffering. Not for those who are advanced in knowledge. There is no suffering, of course. There may be some bodily pain, but a person in knowledge understands that he is not the body. Therefore, why should he suffer? He thinks, let me do my duty. Hare Krishna. That is the advanced stage. Suffering is due to ignorance, but does not one forsake bodily comforts by serving God? Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were high government ministers, but they abandoned their material opulences in order to bestow mercy upon the common people. Thus, they accepted a mere loiny cloth and slept under a different tree every night. Of course, foolish people might say that they were suffering, but they were merged in the ocean of transcendental bliss, writing about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. They engaged their minds in thoughts of Krishna and the gopis, and they wrote books from day to day. There was no question of their suffering, although a fool may think, oh, these men were ministers, high government officials, and they were so comfortable with their lives and homes. Now they have no home and are going about in lonely clothes and eating very little. A materialist would think that they were suffering, but they were not suffering. They were enjoying. Some Christians emphasize the value of suffering, thinking that to abandon worldly life is to abandon pleasure to suffer. This is due to a poor fund of knowledge. They have developed this philosophy after the demise, is it demise or demise of Jesus Christ, it is more or less concorded. Apart from suffering, Krigrada emphasized the importance of love in the religious life. In his book, Works of Love, he considers God to be the hidden source of all love. God you must love in unconditional obedience. He writes, even if that which he demands of you may seem injurious to you, for God's wisdom is incomparable with respect to your own. Yes, that is also the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. God demands that we give up all our plans as well as the plans of others and accept his plan. Sarva Dharman Pratija. Is it Pratija? Bhagavad Gita 18:6, the material one. Bhagavad Gita, abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. If we fully depend on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will guide us home. In defining love, Krigrada pointed out that St. Paul considered love to be the fulfillment of the law. Love is a matter of coincidence. Krigrada writes, and hence it is not a matter of impulse and inclination, nor it is a matter of emotion, nor a matter for intellectual calculation. Christianity really knows only one kind of love, spiritual love. Yes, love is the material world is impossible. Love is love is in the material world is impossible because everyone is interested only in his own sense gratification. The love experience between men and women is not actually love, but lust by because both parties are interested in their own sense gratification. Love means that one does not think of his own sense gratification, but of the sense gratification of his beloved. That is pure love, and that is not possible in the material world. We see examples of pure love. Can I make a screenshot of this? That is pure love, and that is not possible in the material world. We see examples of pure love, however, in the Vedic depictions of Vrindavan, a village wherein men, animals, fruits, flowers, water, and everything else exist only for the sake of loving, only for the sake of loving Krishna. They are not interested in any return from Krishna. Now that is real love. Anayamba hilastia sunyam. If one loves God with some motive, that is material love. Pure love is interested only in satisfying the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we speak of love in the material world, we are misusing the word lusty desire. Take the place of real love. Real love applies only to God, individually, collectively, or any other way. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the supreme object of love. And this love can be expressed through adoration. Adoration. Is it abortion or adoration? Service or adoration, service or friendship. Or we can love him as a child or as a conjurer lover. There are five basic relationships expressing true love of Godhead. For Krigrada, love of God is the decisive factor, and from it stems love of neighbor. If you love God above all else, he writes, then you always love your neighbor. And in your neighbor, every man to help another man to love God is to love the other man. To be helped by another man to love God is to be loved. That is the basis of our Krishna conscious movement. We're learning how to love God and teaching the same principles to the whole world. We are teaching that God is one and that no one is equal to him, no greater than him. God is never dead. If love of God is taught by a religion, that religion should be considered first class, be it Christian, Hindu, Muslim, or whatever. The test of a religion is this: have the followers learned how to love God? God is the center of love, and since everything is God expansion, a lover of God is a lover of everyone. He does not discriminate by thinking that only men should be loved and given service. No, he is interested in all living entities, regardless of the form in which they are existing. A lover of God loves everyone, and his love reaches everyone. When we water the roots of a tree, we are nourishing all parts of the tree, the trunk, branches, twigs, and leaves. When we give the stomach food, we satisfy the entire body. God is everything. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayatatam idam sarvam, Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Nothing can exist without God because everything in his expansion. Vishnu Purana says that God is present everywhere, although situated in his own abode, just as the light and heat of the sun are present everywhere, although the sun is situated in one place. God is all pervading. Nothing can exist without him. At the same time, this does not mean that everything is God, rather, everything is resting on his energy. Despite his expansion, he maintains his personality. Krigrada also considered faith to be an important part of religion. For him, the opposite of faith is sin, which is the same as despair. If you are in Krishna consciousness, there is no question of sin. It is not a question of faith, but of fact. At the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did not want to fight, but he finally decided to abide by the order of Krishna. That is PT. PT. What is it, Prabhu? Piate or PT? Satisfying the higher authority. God is God in the material world. We we imagine this or that to be sinful or pious, but these are mental concoctions. They have no value. Krigrade would define PT as faith in the orders of God. That means he must receive God's order, but if a person has no conception of God, if he conceives of God impersonally, there's no question of God's order. If God is impersonal, he has no mouth with which to speak, no eyes with which to see. Therefore, there is no question of his giving orders. In his journals, Krigrada writes, there is a God. His will is made known to me in holy scriptures and in many coincidence. Coincidence. This God wishes to intervene in the world, but how is he to do so except with the help of man? Sadhu Shastra Guru. We we can approach what? I do not see Prabhu. Standing a saintly person studying the Vedic. Oh, God. Okay, we can approach God by understanding a saintly person, studying the Vedic scriptures and following the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master. Sadhu, Shastras, and Guru should corporate a sadhu. Corroborate a sadhu is one who talks in terms of the scriptures, and the guru is one who teaches according to the scriptures. A guru cannot manufacture words that are not in the Shastras. When we receive instructions from all three, we can progress perfectly in our understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krigrada writes, the only adequate way to express one to whom everything is equally important and equally insignificant can only be interested in one thing, obedience. Yes, and God demands that full obedience. Sarva Dharman Prajita Jnana Mam Ekam Sarnam Vragya. Bhagavad Gita 18 to 66. Our original obedience should be to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we should obey the spiritual master because he is God's representative. If a person does not directly receive the orders of God, he cannot be a bona fide guru. A guru cannot manufacture anything, he simply presents what God speaks in the Shastras. When God comes as an incarnation, he also gives reference to the scriptures, just as Krishna referred to the Brahma Sutra in Bhagavad Gita. Although Krishna is God and he works his final knowledge is set forth logically and philosophically, it is not that we accept just one's proclamations about God statements must be corroborated by the standard scriptures. Krigrada says that we should renounce everything as an act of worship offered to God, and not so because He needs to use us as an instrument, but to renounce everything as the most insignificant superfluity, an article of luxury. That means to worship. Yes, worship begins with the renunciation of ulterior motives. Our only business is to love God, and a first-class religious system teaches its followers to love God without ulterior motives. Such worship cannot be checked by material considerations. We can love God in any condition and God will help. Krigrada lamented the disintegration of Christianity as an infective form of worship. He considered modern Christendom, Christendom to be a kind of sickness, a corruption of Christ's original message. Christianity is Christianity, and you cannot call it modern and ancient, nor can you say that God is modern or ancient. We say that either a person is a Christian or not, either he follows the orders of Christ or he does not. If you do not follow the tenets of your religion, how can you claim to belong to that religion? Prabhu, yeah, you can say someone else read, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading. Okay, who
Thank
wants
you,
to
Prabhu.
continue from this part? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 7 pages to read.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Sundar Das. Kierkegaard saw Christian despair as a sickness unto death. The wish to die is a result of despair. Srila Prabhupada. People try to avoid the results of their sinful activities by killing themselves, but this is not possible. Suicide is just another sin. Therefore, those who commit suicide become ghosts. Sundar Das. Kierkegaard believed that a man should live as if he were to die at any moment. He should act as if each act were to be his last. Srila Prabhupada. This requires practice, and therefore we are recommending the chanting of Hare Krishna without cessation. Of course, death may come at any moment, and if we are chanting Hare Krishna, that death is a happy death. Sundar Das. According to Catholicism, at the time of death, a priest can absolve you of all your sins. Srila Prabhupada. Provided you have the consciousness to understand the words of the priest. Sundar Das. Even though one has committed many sins through his life, he can be absolved of his sins on his deathbed. Srila Prabhupada. That is quite possible because a priest can remind you of God at the time of death. Your thoughts at the time of death are very important. There are many examples. Ayamila and Bharata Maharaj. Therefore, King Kulasekara prays, let me die immediately when I am thinking of Krishna. Of course, unless we are practicing, it is not possible to think of Krishna at the time of death, because at that time there are many bodily disturbances. Therefore, from the beginning, austerities are required. Hayagrib Das. Kierkegaard writes, the true relation in prayer is not when God hears what is prayed for, but when the person praying continues to pray until he is the one who hears what God wills. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, that is very nice. Through prayer, one becomes qualified to understand God, talk with God, and receive His directions. Tesam satata yuktanam vayatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Our ultimate goal is to give up this material world and return to God. Prayer is just one form of service. There are 9 basic processes we can follow in the rendering of devotional service. Ravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Ramanam Padavstevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. Hearing and chanting about the holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. Bhagavad Gita 7:5-23. Prayer is Vandanam. If we accept online processes or just one of them, we can progress in spiritual life. Christians and Mohammedans offer prayers, and Hindus render service in the temple. The deities are decorated, the temples are cleansed, and food is offered. This is called archanam, and through this process we can engage in devotional service. God is within, and when He sees that we are sincere in His service, He takes charge and gives directions by which we can simply approach Him. God is complete to Himself. He is not hankering after our service, but if we offer Him service, we can become purified. When we are purified, we can talk with God and see Him. We can receive His instruction personally, just as Arjuna did. Shyama does. For Kierkegaard, faith is revealed in the self's relation to his own self, through his willingness to be his authentic self and to stand transparently before God in full integrity. Srila Prabhupada. For the Mayavadis, self-realization means becoming one with the Supreme Self, but such merging is not possible. Standing transparently before God means engaging in God's service. To engage in God's service, you must understand that you are part and parcel of the Supreme, a part of the body engaged in the service of the entire body. As soon as you engage in God's service, you are self-realized. That is mukti, liberation. The karmis, jnanis, and yogis are trying to realize the self, but because they are not engaged in rendering service to the Supreme Self, they are not liberated. We are therefore pushing to Krishna consciousness for the ultimate self-realization of everyone. Shyama Das. Kierkegaard sees self-realization arising out of the expression of the will. The more self-realized a person is, the more will he has. When we are fully ourselves, we are fully wild and able to make the proper decisions. Srila Prabhupada. But if we are part and parcel of the world, we have to take decisions from the world, make the decision. A finger does not make decisions for the entire body. The only decision you can make is a decision to serve Krishna. The orders come from the superior. Arjuna was ordered by Krishna to fight, and at the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, he decided to abide by Krishna's will. This is the only decision we can make, to abide by Krishna's will or not. Krishna or his representative makes all the other decisions. Shyama does. Then what is the meaning of full will? La Prabhupada. Full will means to surrender fully, to follow absolutely the orders of the Supreme. Shyama does. Kierkegaard saw that even despair can bear fruit in that it can lead us to desire a genuine life of self-realization. It can be a springboard of a higher consciousness. Srila Prabhupada. When one despairs, that, that is a great happiness. Then everything is finished. All responsibility is gone, and the person is relieved. Out of despair, Arjuna was thinking of becoming a mendicant. When he despaired all his happiness in material life, we may then turn to spiritual life. Sometimes Krishna smashes all of our material resources so that out of despair we may fully engage in Krishna's service. Krishna sometimes breaks a person materially when a person wants to become God conscious, but at the same time wants material enjoyment due to strong attachment. Sometimes when God smashes a person's material hopes, the person thinks that God is unkind to him, and the person despairs. He doesn't realize that this is God's mercy, that God is removing impediments so that the person may fully and absolutely surrender. Once Indra, the king of heaven, was forced to be a og, and he had to enter the material world as a lowly animal. As an og, he had a og life, og children, and so on. Finally, Lord Brahma came down and told him, "My dear Indra, you have forgotten your position. You were once a heavenly king and possessed great opulence. Now that you are a og, you have forgotten your previous exalted existence. Please leave this filthy life and come with me." Yet, despite all Brahma's pleadings, Indra was not convinced. He said, "Why should I go with you? I am very happy. I have my wife, children, and home. Seeing that Indra had very much attracted to his own existence, Brahma began to kill all his own children and eventually his own wife. When Indra saw that his wife was killed, he despaired, "Oh, you have killed all my family." It was only then that Indra agreed to go with Lord Brahma. Similarly, Krishna sometimes creates a situation in which the living entity will despair and out of despair turn to Krishna and fully surrender unto him. Syamasundar Das. Kierkegaard was considering the despair of thinking, "Oh, I'm a sinner," and believing that we will never be relieved of sin. He claims that, this leads us even further into a sinful life. Srila Prabhupada. There is no question of despair because of sin. A person sins out of ignorance. If you ask a butcher, "Why are you committing sins?" he will say, "This is my business." What is sinful about it? When Narada informed the hunter that killing animals was sinful, the hunter did not despair, but was elevated to Krishna consciousness by Narada's instruction. Syamasundar Das. Kierkegaard believes that faith conquers sins and despair. Srila Prabhupada. Faith means faith in God. To strengthen our faith in God, we have to give up all hopes of happiness in this material life. We have to despair of material happiness. Syamasundar Das. For Kierkegaard, existence is continuous and therefore forever incomplete. Srila Prabhupada. This system is complete when we surrender unto Krishna. God has a complete system by which we can progress to God consciousness. When we become fully conscious, we have attained completion. As long as we have not reached that point, we are progressing. I agree with that. God is the wellspring of all individuality. Kierkegaard writes, "To have individuality is to believe in the individuality of everyone else, for the individuality is not mine, is the gift of God through which He permits me to be and through which He permits everyone to be." Srila Prabhupada. This fact is also explained in Katha Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. God is a living being, and we are also living beings. Just as He is eternal, we are also eternal. Qualitatively, we are one, but quantitatively, we are different. God is maintaining everyone, and all the living entities are being maintained. We are all individual, eternal parts of God, and our natural position being part of Him is to love Him. Syamasundar Das. Kierkegaard sees the individual in a continuous state of becoming. Srila Prabhupada. Becoming what? What is the goal? The goal is Krishna's consciousness. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Mata parataram namyat kinchit asti danam gyaya. Magi sarva idam protam sutre manigana iva." O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on the thread. Bhagavad Gita 7:7. Krishna is the ultimate truth, the supreme goal, and completion means coming to Krishna consciousness. Syamasundar Das. But isn't there still a process of becoming, even when we are fully Krishna consciousness and in association with Krishna? Srila Prabhupada. No. The becoming process ends. There are, however, varieties, which are spiritual. Everything is complete, but varieties are enjoyed. Sometimes Krishna is a cowherd boy. Sometimes he is Yashoda's child. Sometimes he is Radharani's consort. Sometimes he is in Mathura. Sometimes he is in Vrindavan. There are many spiritual varieties, but everything is complete in himself. There is no question of becoming. We reach the point where we are simply enjoying varieties. That is all. Syamasundar Das. What's the difference between spiritual variety and material variety? Srila Prabhupada. Material variety is artificial. It's like a man satisfied with a plastic flower. Enjoyment of a plastic flower cannot be the same as the enjoyment of a real flower. A plastic flower has no aroma. It's artificial, blah. Syamasundar Das. Whereas Hegel emphasized speculative thought, Kierkegaard emphasized action. He saw freedom in proper action. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, spiritual life means proper action. It is improper to think that one is inactive when he attains the perfectional state. That is the Mayavadi theory. Mayavadis contend that a jug will make a big sound if it is not full of water. They equate fullness with silence. But from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that the soul is never inactive. Sometimes, however, we see that inactivity is recommended. That means that we should not speak or act foolishly. If we cannot talk intelligently, we had better to stop talking. But that inactivity cannot be equated with perfection. Sundar Das. Kierkegaard found truth in the relative and subjective, impersonal individual reflection in what he calls inward passion. Inward passion. Srila Prabhupada. Truth is truth, and that is absolute. You may manufacture relative truth, but the absolute truth is one. If we have no knowledge of the absolute truth, we emphasize relative truths. There may be inward passions or whatever, but if we don't know the ultimate goal, we might be misled. It is all right to say that passion is truth, but passion means activity. Where will your activity end? What is the purpose of your activity? You may drive your car, but if you don't know where to go, what's the point? You are wasting your energy. Of course, one might say, I don't know where to go, but that doesn't matter. Just let me start my car and go. But is this a very good proposal? Sundar Das. For Kierkegaard, it is not what is done, but how it is done. Srila Prabhupada. This is a dog's obstinacy. Sundar Das. This is a kind of subjectivity that is always uncertain. Uncertainty creates anxiety. Srila Prabhupada. One who does not know life's aim will always be in anxiety. Sundar Das. For Kierkegaard, this anxiety and uncertainty are dispelled by what he calls the leap of faith. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, but a leap must be made when there is a goal. Unless you know the goal, the fixed point, your patience and energy may be misused, misdirected. Sundar Das. As a Christian, Kierkegaard felt that our energy should be used to reach God through Christ. Srila Prabhupada. That is a good position. That is our process. But it is not necessary to pass through the lower states. Why not to take God immediately if you can reach God through Jesus Christ? Our process is that we must surrender ourselves to the Guru in order to understand the highest truth. Tadviri pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadex yanti te gyanam gyaninas tattva darsinah. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Srimad Bhagavatam also states, Tasmat Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Sreya Uttanam Sadve Pare Chanisnatam Brahmani Upasanamasrayam. Any person who is seriously desirous of achieving real happiness must seek out of bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of the scripture by deliberation and arguments and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken complete shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material consideration, are to be understood as bona fide spiritual masters. Bhagavatam 11:3-21. This is the process. It is not that we continue in our way, hoping to take the right path through experience. In the middle of the vast ocean, you don't know where to direct your ship. You might go one way and then you may go another. If you don't know the direction, your endeavors will be frustrated. A captain, a compass, and an assistant are needed. The captain is the guru who gives direction. If you have a ship without a captain, you will go one way and then another. and waste your energy. If Kierkegaard accepts Christ, he is accepting some guidance. Semasullar does. Kierkegaard says, God does not think, he creates. God does not exist, he is eternal. Man thinks and exists, and existence separates through thought and being. Srila Prabhupada, what does he mean that God is eternal and does not exist? Semasullar does. For him, the word existence refers to that which is coming into being. God does not exist in the sense that he is always the same, Srila Prabhupada. That means he is perfect. God does not progress from one stage to another. If that is Kierkegaard's philosophy, he should agree to follow the orders of God. One experiment, God is omnipotent and all-powerful. He agreed that he does not have to make plans. He creates automatically. His energies are so perfect and subtle that as soon as he thinks, a thing is realized. It is created perfectly. Sebastien thus. Kierkegaard sees a man's existence as a state of constantly becoming. Man's true thought is separate from his being. Srila Prabhupada. Then why not unite thought and being by surrendering to Krishna?
Oh, Haribol. Thank you so much.
Haribol.
Okay, tomorrow we can start the Sartre chapter. 2, 3.
How many pages left, Prabhu?
90 pages.
Oh. So tomorrow, what are we like? When we are finished with this book, which one are we going to?
I think Krishna book.
Oh, which one? Elevation to Krishna or just Krishna book?
Just Krishna book.
Okay.
Oh, this says we have 60 more pages.
Oh, is it possible to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, or is it a lot? Like, let's say one book.
Maybe we could read the first canto. But
Okay.
I've not yet started it because yeah, but maybe we could read the first canto.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
I don't want to go too far with the Bhagavatam because I like to read the beginner books in the reading session.
Oh, yeah.
But at least canto 1 and 2, those are good to read for everyone.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Oh, when it gets deeper, it gets harsh.
Yes, Prabhu, they're really technical.
Yeah. Because usually I see it when I watch the lecture of His Grace Sundar Gopal Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. But now we have read all the books, so either we start reading everything again or we go to Bhagavatam. But
Oh,
at least we will first read Krishna book. That will take like 2 months.
oh, how many pages does it have? Oh, you're not sure.
It has maybe 700 pages.
Yo.
Yes, Prabhu. Usually during winter time we have read it.
Oh.
But those are nice. It's much easier to focus than this philosophy.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
And there's a lot of pictures also. Okay, now let's read Shikshastakam prayers. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davagninirvapanam shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Nam akari bahuda nija sarva shakti statrapita niyamita smarane nakalaha etadrishi tvavakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam etrisha ahai jana nanuragaraha Trinad api sunichena taro api saheshnuna amanina manadena Kritanya sada hari.
नतनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वाचकधीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवताद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
Ainandanam tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam badau kripatwava pada pakanjaya stitaduli sadrisham vichintaya.
नयनं कलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकर्निशितं वपुः कदा तव नाम गृहणे भविष्यति
Yugam yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravishyayitam sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name.
अश्लिष्य वा पातरतं पिनष्टु मामदर्शनं मर्महतं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विधातुलं पतो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Lord Krishna, Govinda, and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in an humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer unrespect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal saviator, yet somehow or other I have fallen into your ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my bones choke up? And when will the hairs on my body stand on the end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separation, some considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I, I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord unconditionally.
Go, Sri Siksastakam Ki.
Jai.
Jai.
To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord.
Second offense, to
To
consider the
yes.
chanting of the holy name to be, no, it's the Shiva and Lord Brahma, to consider the name to be equal, but I don't know, I don't remember how it goes.
Okay, to consider the names, I think it's to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva
Yes.
and Lord, yeah, and Lord Brahma to be equal, yeah. And then to disobey the orders of the spiritual master.
Or to
And
consider,
then,
or consider him as an ordinary being, ordinary person.
oh yes, and number 4, it is to blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in preference to the Vedic version, I think.
Fifth is to consider the glories of the chanting of Hare Krishna to be an imagination.
To interpret the holy names of the Lord, and to what sinful is it is about sinful. Can I try it? To commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name.
Haribol. to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be to mentioned in the Vedas as karmic like activities, karma kanda. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities. One of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. Ninth is to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name.
And I need to study 9. It's so easy. It's just that time.
10 one. What it is?
And it's that long one.
Yes, Prabhu. It always starts to not have faith. To not have faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain materialistic attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema.
Vancha kalpa tripyascha kripa sindhu bhava cha.
Tribu, thank you so much for association, Prabhu, and joining the reading session. Thank you so much also, John Prabhu, for reading. It was really nice to hear you reading. Please join.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It was my first time hearing his voice.
Yes, Prabhu, it was really nice.
Yes, it was a pleasure. I think that in the next days I will also unite to these sessions. Thank
Yes,
you for the
Prabhu.
invitation.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes,
Tomorrow
Prabhu,
also
thank
there
you.
will be Stagosti session, so try to join every Sunday if you find time some way.
Yes, I have already read the program of the day and I will unite also and participate.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Jai Shri.
Has John joined the Ishtagoshti too?
Not yet, but maybe tomorrow.
Oh. So, like, can I ask you how many people are new, like, from these 3 weeks?
I'm not sure, Prabhu.
There are many, hey? Because I saw one today who said his guru was Guru Maharaj.
Oh yes, but I don't think he will stay for a long time because usually persons like this they come here and then they try to tell how their guru is real guru and then they go because they are not to learn about Prabhupada, they just come for some reason. I don't know.
And I think Guru Maharaj is Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami, ne?
That means like
Oh,
guru in general, but it's like impersonal way to say guru, but he means his own guru, but I don't know who his guru is because no one has heard about his guru.
because if he's Guru, he must be under Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhu. But yeah, they are.
Because I thought he
'Cause
wants
it's
to
cheating.
follow the Vedic scriptures in his own way, I think.
Yes, Prabhu. He is from this Nityanand Parivar. You know, they say that they are the same birth line as Nityananda Prabhu. They say we are in the same family line. They're like this.
Oh, and I saw that he was asking you that should he leave now. I was gonna say yes. If you're not gonna follow Srila Prabhupada, you're wasting your time, baby.
Yes, Prabhu. But I don't want to say because I want them to stay in the group some. But I think Nimanita Prabhu, if he says that you can leave, then I will also say okay, you can.
Okay, Prabhu. Yo, and Nimai will answer you after 6 months, eh?
Yes, Prabhu. Tatvait Prabhu explained this one about how they are cheaters.
Top.
Oh.
And the next one,
Yeah.
Nityananda Parivar, Nityananda Vamsha. They're actually a deviation. They think only those people who are coming in the family of Nityananda, whether they are following the principles or not, it doesn't matter. They consider themselves Vaishnavas. So it is actually not a pure sampradaya. And even great acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur have spoken against it because they are trying to promote They are trying to promote the caste conscious Vaishnavism. Oh, we come from Nityananda Parivar, Nityananda Vamsha. So we are very exalted. Just like some people say, I am Yadava, I'm from the family of Krishna. Or I am a caste, I am born Brahmin. So I am a born Nityananda's descendant, like that. Although they don't have qualities of a devotee. So, great acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they have spoken very strongly against such cults who have nefarious practices going on, and at the same time they consider themselves Vaishnavas and cheat the people. So that is.
Yes, Prabhu, so they're cheater.
Yes. Mm. I think you should send him that video, but it's gonna be harsh, eh?
Yes, Prabhu. But you will see he will start some fight in few days.
Yeah, but I think the quicker he learns, the more he can get the accurate knowledge.
Yes,
But
Prabhu.
one aspect I liked about him, he was like he wanted to associate. Maybe the Shastras is telling him if you don't associate, you're wasting your time.
Yes, Prabhu. But I think he's just trying to find some persons that he can share his. Because we have seen persons like this join like 10 people like him. And they come there a few
Oh.
days and then they start some fight. They say, oh, why you talk only about Prabhupada? Oh, my guru is good too. And then they fight and then they leave.
Because he said something about the Veda base. The Veda base is what
Yes.
edited what.
He has read some Prabhupada's books, so that's good. Because usually they don't read Prabhupada's books. And
Oh, he has. Okay.
yes, bro, but his story is when he was 13 years old, he took initiation without his parents knowing from someone, from some Babaji from Radhakund.
Yeah.
So now he's confused.
Because I heard him, he said he has 5 to 6 years. I was like, what? He reminded me of that drama that we were watching yesterday. That person calling himself God.
Yes, Prabhu. Abhisaki said.
Yeah, Gisa said. I forgot that name.
Yeah, the drama was really nice. I'll see if I can find the. There's one more really good one. Hmm. Oh yeah, this one. Let's watch this one. Here is Nimanitai Prabhu also.
How long does it take?
40 minutes.
Oh, 40.